What is up, everybody, and welcome to the NFL Pre-Lock Show for Thursday Night Football. Getting us kicked off for Week 4 of the NFL, like Thursday nights always do. So we're going to be hanging out with you for at least, how many ever minutes until you guys dry up on your questions. But we got 44 minutes till lock. So at the most 44 minutes, but fire off those questions so we can hang out for a while. Tonight, two-man booth. Our producer is pulling double duty. He's the producer, and he's also the man I'm going to turn to for some answers on this slate, TJ Zwarych. TJ, how you doing, man?
Doing well. Happy to be in front of the camera on the show with you. Showdowns are some of my favorite slates to break down. Had some very big success with them in the past, so hopefully able to keep it going tonight. I admittedly took an afternoon nap, and so I missed entering the big showdown contest with 500K to first. And so just doing some single entry stuff tonight, but still feeling good about the slate.
Now, does the afternoon nap hurt you tonight when you go to bed? Will you really be feeling the effects of the nap tonight and be tossing and turning all night? Because that's what I do.
So maybe it will, but I don't think so too much, just because my wife has her first soccer game of her season tonight, and it's like a 9:30 start, and so that means I'm in charge and having to stay up with the baby just in case she wakes up and anything happens. And so I'll be up this evening anyways, watching the football game, maybe throw a movie on after, so not too worried about it.
Okay, fair enough. They do things different out there in Canada, man. 9:30 soccer starts. That's crazy. That's crazy on a Thursday. That's not the weekend yet, man, but
I know.
Whatever, man. To each their own. Guys, we're going to walk you through, we're going to walk you through every position, some players of note that you should be thinking about tonight. We got a very interesting game, Arizona, Seattle. Always, I don't mind this. A lot of people poo-poo in this game. I don't mind this. I like watching Kyler Murray. When he's good, when he's on his game, I like watching Kyler. He runs. He's exciting. And I do have a lot of confidence in the Seattle team this year. I think they're a really good bunch. So I'm kind of excited for this game, and we got playoff races coming down to the wire in baseball. You can tune into that. There's an abstract college game if you're into that, but there's a three-headed slate tomorrow that should be really good. So it should be a fun night. So get those questions in. I'm monitoring chat. I'm going to keep track of them all. I'll answer every single question you throw out there. I'll keep it. I'll write it down somewhere, and we'll come back to it when the time is right. So. Fire off all that. General overview, TJ. Arizona, Seattle, tight spread in Arizona. It's a medium total here, around 43, 44, depending on which book you're looking at. What's your general assessment of the entertainment value for this game?
Yeah, I think it should be good as well. I don't like this. Sounds kind of weird, but I feel like this is a game that if it was scheduled on Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football, I might go, I've watched a lot of football already this week. I'll tune in, I'll follow, but I don't know that this is must watch for me. But on a Thursday night where we're used to just seeing some terrible teams play a lot of the time, we've had some good games this year so far, but often as the season goes on, Thursday night football gets pretty ugly. And this is a pretty nice matchup. Divisional showdown, two solid teams. I think from a betting standpoint, I drastically prefer the Seattle side tonight. I'm in like some confidence points pools, and I ended up going Seattle for quite a few in this one. I feel pretty good about them. That defense just looks absolutely incredible this year. And Arizona hasn't really been tested yet. Like, they've been tested in games, but not against good teams. They've had the Mac Jones-led 49ers. They've had the Saints. They've had the Panthers. It's not like they haven't faced off against any juggernauts yet. So I like the Seattle side of this game. And in terms of a Thursday night football matchup where we haven't got to watch a game since Monday night, I'm feeling pretty excited to watch this one as well.
Yeah, I think what you said is pretty accurate as far as, like, by Sunday night, I'm kind of just checked out of football, man. You better have one hell of a game for me to start to tune into those island games. But Thursday, the juices are flowing, man. Like we've had our little 3-day break. Now we're ready to get back into action. So I'll take anything at this point, and that's where we're at here. So yeah, I don't mind. I think it should be fun if we get both good versions of these teams showing up, and Seattle's one we don't get to see very often in prime time, and I like what they're made of this year. I'm very intrigued to see my boy JSN Jackson Smith and Jigba in prime time. He's really taken a step up this year. So I see a couple questions in chat. Well, I want a little talking point. One little talking point here from Chris. It's not a question, but he says he might roster a defense as captain on FanDuel. Throwing Seattle out there. Just generally speaking, you're on a showdown, whether it be FanDuel or DraftKings. It kind of feels like defenses are typically a little bit too low of a ceiling for the captain spot. But, like, would you ever do it? Would you do it tonight? Are you feeling anything about the defenses tonight that make you think one of them could be a standout? I mean, I don't know. I just never do that. I just never do defenses in captain, or kickers, but I feel like the ceiling's too low, but maybe you can convince me otherwise.
I do really like the Seattle defense tonight, not at the captain or MVP position. Not at the captain or MVP. Just can't get there. Seattle defense in particular on DraftKings. On FanDuel, they're all the way up at 7,200. I would way rather play Jason Myers. I'd way rather play Zach Charbonnet. I'd rather play Chad Ryland, Torrey Horton. And so I'm not interested in them on FanDuel really whatsoever. On DraftKings, they're only 4K. They're cheaper than the Arizona defense. I think they're a really nice value play, especially considering I think this is going to be a slow-paced game. And so getting that floor, I think, will be decent when you're getting it at the flex position. But no interest in them at captain, and then no interest on them on FanDuel either.
And Nick has a comment / question. He says, I'm kind of with him on this one. I keep thinking Walker will go off tonight, being overpriced on both sides, but is showing him at 5% MVP on FanDuel. What do you think? Walker going off, Walker 5% on FanDuel, and Walker seem to have an alignment of things going on there. Like if you're going to play Kenneth Walker, FanDuel's the place to play him because he can be a touchdown magnet, man, and that's what you want over there. What's your assessment of Walker on FanDuel and just in general as an MVP tonight?
I don't love it because of that price. I do think some people are still going to play him at the MVP position a little bit today, and so I don't have a ton of interest there. I like him a bit better at flex, where it's looking like he's going to go a little under-owned. If you are going to play him, but that would still have to be a running multiple lineups kind of thing for me, chasing the low ownership, because with Zach Charbonnet back, he is just ridiculously overpriced.
Yeah. It's interesting. I just find it hard to believe that Charbonnet just came in and swooped up so much of his work, but I guess he did, but I'm just shocked. Kenneth Walker's just a better player, but
Arizona is just very much a bend but don't break defense as well. It's one of the reasons I love Jackson Smith and Jigba so much tonight is I just feel like he could have 13 receptions because I don't think there's going to be a ton of big plays in this one. Both of these running backs, I feel like for a big score, are pretty touchdown dependent on the Seattle side. And so I just really side with Charbonnet because he's literally half the price.
Yeah, no, I get it. And it's not a comment necessarily on tonight in favoring Walker. I'm literally I'm stunned that Charbonnet, who's seems like a very average guy to me, just came in and they're giving him all this work over Kenneth Walker, who can be really good when he's healthy. So I don't know. Johnny
I
says
think it could be one of those situations that they just want to keep him healthy too. And so
maybe
giving him 10 to 15 touches a game until the end of the season is, will keep him fresher than 20 plus. And so I do think that could play into it a little bit as well. Like a bit of a Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery situation where because the other guy's good, we might as well keep our best guy fresh.
Maybe. We Major has a question for you. He says, who is your favorite MVP on FanDuel?
On FanDuel for MVP, I think I might side with Trey Benson. at 9,200 just because he should get the full big workload. DeMercado is probably going to come in for a little bit of passing down work, but Benson should get a decent amount of passing down work as well. I actually don't hate the idea of doing Zach Charbonnet there at the MVP position, only $6,800, or I guess, more at the MVP, but $6,800 at flex, real cheap, because I do want to make sure I'm getting Jackson Smith-Njigba and Trey McBride in basically every lineup that I play. So Smith-Njigba and Trey McBride, those are my two favorite MVPs and captains by far. But having said that, I just don't know if I can build the lineups the same way and like them as much as if I do a Charbonnet or a Trey McBride, or a Benson there, a Trey Benson. So top choices, Smith-Njigba and Trey McBride. Backup choices, Trey Benson and Zach Charbonnet.
Fair enough. Donnie says, quick question. DraftKings, it's single entry. Not a fan of the cheap guys. Fair enough. But what do you think about double kicker being in play? These two guys, I was going to speak to kickers in a little bit, but what do you think about double kicker? If you don't like cheap guys tonight, I'll just go and throw my kicker comment out there. I like the kickers tonight, especially the Seattle side. You just mentioned bend but don't break. Man, that's perfect for field goals. Get you down to the red zone, then can't quite get in. Sets up for a lot of field goals. I love at least the Seattle kicker in a lot of lineups, but I don't mind the double kicker either. Although I do think the Seattle defense is pretty good and they're getting healthier. I'm looking at the inactive report and they're getting a little bit healthier. So, but I don't mind the kickers tonight. I think there could be a lot of bend but don't break, and that's always good for kickers. What do you think about the double kicker approach in single entry?
No problem with that whatsoever. I was trying to build a double kicker lineup, but then I just fell a few dollars short of the team that I wanted to build. I am kind of looking at my single entry right now and saying, do I want Myers and Charbonnet or Darnold and Arroyo, the $800 tight end?
Yeah. All right. I got some more questions. Keep on firing, guys. I'm going to keep track of them as we go along. I'm going to get to them all. I do want to run down some players, though, specifically by position, just to make sure you get a good overview. Quarterbacks, Kyler Murray, Sam Darnold. Kyler Murray's always in play because of his legs. We love that. But nobody's talking. I don't think anybody's really talking up Sam Darnold enough tonight, or at least not very much tonight. So maybe he flies in a little under the radar. What do you think about these two quarterbacks?
Yeah, I really like Sam Darnold tonight. I think he's a strong play. I'm going on the fade Kyler Murray train. I get that it's, kind of scary because he has rushing ability. He could absolutely go off, but we've seen him going up against three mediocre defenses so far, and he has not put up any ceiling performances. Typically a guy that, as the season goes on, gets let loose a little bit more in fantasy as they start getting a little bit more creative as the year goes on and move Marvin Harrison Jr. around a ton. I'm going on the fade Kyler Murray train tonight, and maybe a hot take that may be maybe something that's going to bite me in the butt, but I do like that.
It's tough. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, think about Kyler Murray is he has these weeks. He starts off the year really good a lot of times from what I've seen of him. And then somewhere along the way, he hits kind of a wall and he's just terrible for fantasy. And I've seen him for like 2 years now. So maybe he's going to hit that wall, but I don't know. It's prime time. Who knows?
I'm kind of thinking, what if it goes in reverse this year, right? Like he's started the year pretty mediocre. So maybe we get the switch it up and we get Kyler Murray moving around a little bit more in the second half. Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, let's just go ahead and address Matthew's question. I think it's a riveting question. He says his wife's boyfriend is pounding Cardinals alt lines tonight. So for a second, he was setting it up for something else there. His wife's boyfriend was pounding something else. Now, I don't know what kind of boyfriend this is. This could be one of those, just a male friend, just a hangout buddy. Could be, it could be what. Or Matthew is this is a cry for help. I'm not sure, but What do you think about the Cardinals' alternate lines tonight?
Only if those Cardinals alternate lines are like plus something and not. I do a Cardinals alternate line of plus 10, sure, but I'm all over Seattle tonight.
That's yeah.
Your wife's gonna be finding a new boyfriend after he loses all his money on the Cardinals, I think.
Or yeah, maybe it's more the plus 10. Maybe that's more of the it's more of the teaser. Maybe the wife's boyfriend is tease her a little bit. Tease her a little bit with the teaser, man. Plus 10-point teaser. You got a special teaser plus 10 points. So you get that. Any Marvin at captain on FanDuel for 14,700. You like Marvin at captain? Man, Marvin's struggling, man. He dropped some easy passes. Does not look like Marvin Harrison, but maybe that's when that's oftentimes when a good NFL player will bounce back. So what do you think about Marvin at FanDuel captain?
It's a guy I would have to be playing a few more lineups, but it's a guy that has a ton of talent and nobody's playing him because he has looked bad. And this offense has looked not awful, but just fairly mediocre through 3 games this season. And so Marvin Harrison, just because of how low owned he is and because of the talent, I do think he makes for a very good contrarian low owned MVP over there. I personally would need to be playing a few more lineups to get there though, just because like it's tough. He's looked bad. I think I like Charbonnet a little bit more if I'm going the super low owned route, but this absolutely it's a bad spot and he's looked bad. So nobody's playing him because of those two things. But this is still Marvin Harrison Jr. He can break one at any time. Maybe not break one because he hasn't been doing a ton yards after the catch, but he can catch a long one at any time and get you into the end zone. So I do think it is in play because of how low owned he is.
Yeah. Talk about some running backs real quick. We talked a little bit about Walker and Charbonnet, and they split and how they do all that number, and we kind of don't know what's going to happen, and doesn't feel super sexy, although you never know. But it's the flip side of that game. It's the Arizona side that everybody's rumbling about because James Conner is out for the year, and in steps Trey Benson, a guy who's second year, third year, something like that, out of Florida State. He was pretty explosive in college. He wasn't no slow, Walking Dead walker or nothing. He's got some skip to his game. He's not a bad player at all. He should take on a bell cow role now, but that's going to make him very popular tonight. Talk to me about that Benson DeMarcado and how you feel about the dynamic there and how much Benson will you be playing tonight?
I'm playing 2 single entry lineups and I have Benson in both of them. I was debating throwing him in the captain position, but I'm looking to get more Benson in the flex just because I'm all aboard the McBride and JSN train and I find them easy enough to get to on DraftKings. And so I'm not personally playing him in the captain or MVP, but I think he's totally viable there. Should get a little bit of pass catching work. Unless DeMarcado just scoops it all up. I probably want to play one of those running backs, especially on DraftKings today, DeMarcado or Benson, because I feel like Benson's road to failure is DeMarcado playing all the third down work, the 2-minute drills and things like that. And then, he catches 5 or 6 passes. And even if he doesn't do a lot with him, 5 or 6 passes at that price would be huge. And so if I'm fading Benson, I would probably want to be going with one of the backups. Maria Donizzi saying Michael Carter is picking up some ownership now, and he wasn't at all before, and so maybe there were just some kind of report he might get some third down work. So I'll give his name a Google right now or a Twitter search. But he got elevated from the active roster to the practice squad, so he's playing, but nothing really other than that. If I'm not playing Benson, I really don't mind the idea of taking a shot on a $200 Michael Carter or where's DeMarcado here? 3,800 DeMarcado.
Fair enough. Let's talk wide receivers real quick. And while we're on the subject of wide receivers, is a question in chat from Chris. Anybody rostering Wilson as a punt on FanDuel? What do you think? I think that's very much a viable option.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, I don't think. When somebody's $200 and can get on the field, or like minimum price on FanDuel, minimum price on DraftKings, and can get on the field, I'm in. You don't have to try and convince me. I love those kind of things.
Okay, some wide receivers now. Talk a little bit about Wilson. He's fine. You have Greg Dortch, Marvin Harrison Jr. struggling this year. The drop, struggling his career, actually. He's too good of a player. I don't know what's wrong with him, man. You know what's funny? I know he's a good player. I just know he's a good player. Have you seen that report? I mean, I'm going to butcher it now, but Jackson Smith and Jigba is having a breakout year right now. He was completely kept under wraps. Like he was completely dead weight for years under Shane Waldron, offensive coordinator. All right. And then, there was somebody else. He did the same thing to somebody else. And then that guy broke out when he left. Now Shane Waldron's in Jacksonville and Brian Thomas Jr. It looks like a dud coming off of a great rookie season. So my point being that maybe there's, sometimes there's something in the system there. Sometimes there's a coordinator, a pass game coach, something like that's holding a player back. Something's wrong there. Maybe that's what's wrong with Marvin Harris. Something's wrong with Marvin because he's too good to be this bad. So talk to me about any feelings you have about Marvin Harrison Jr. tonight.
This is difficult because it's like for my own feelings on the situation, I don't think he's that great. I don't like in comparison to look at some of the other receivers from this draft class we've seen. I think he's maybe third, fourth, fifth, as opposed to the top receiver that we thought he was. I don't think he's a bust. I just don't think he is elite necessarily. And I also just don't really like the way that this offense moves. It's fairly stagnant. It doesn't move him around the offense a lot. It doesn't get him that many targets in different places in the field. It just kind of keeps him in one spot and lets him run down the field. I don't love him for tonight, but nobody does. He doesn't project well. He's projecting for low ownership. He's cheap. I think he is a good DFS play based on his ownership. If I were just to bet, does he have a great game or does he not have a great game? I would lean on the not have a great game side, but that's the side that everybody's on. And so I do think that makes him a strong single game DFS play.
I could definitely get behind the offense holding him down, or maybe it's the quarterback. I don't know. Maybe whatever. But Marvin's talented. Man. It's there. I know it's there. So he needs a.
I'm not saying like he's a bust or he's trash or anything. I just mean kind of looking in
for DFS purposes right now.
We've just seen exploding lately, and it's like we haven't seen him do anything consistently yet.
Odunze is a good example. He was trash last year under Eberflus and those guys, and now he's actually look like a little bit of a breakout here coming for Odunze. So I just think this guy needs to find the right system. But on the other side, like Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to be the most popular guy tonight. He's that good. He's having a breakout year. He's awesome. He's supremely talented. All that good stuff. We know that. But it's the other two guys that you should, that are rosterable tonight for Seattle that I find interesting. One of them being Cooper Kupp, who I think is completely washed, but who knows? I don't know, man. Maybe he has a game or two left in him. But Torrey Horton, very talented kid. I do remember him specifically at Colorado State. Very talented kid. Looks like he's getting a little bit of a chance now, and he's doing some things. Talk to me about Kupp and Horton. And if you want to throw your Jackson Smith and Jigba take in there, but everybody knows he's good, though.
Yeah, Smith and Jigba I'm all aboard the JSN train today. I would be debating lock buttoning him today in some capacity at the captain or flex if I was playing 150 lineups. Like, just an absolutely incredible play. Kupp, I want him to be cheaper for me to be getting to him. I just don't really have a ton of interest in Cooper Kupp today. Horton, I think, is a phenomenal play on FanDuel. On DraftKings, though, he is pricey. And so I would be much more interested in getting to Charbonnet at that price, in that price tier, or even potentially the kickers than getting to Horton today on DraftKings. But on FanDuel, where he's quite a bit cheaper, I like him a lot over there. Cooper Kupp, a guy that I'm probably just going to be off of today.
Fair enough on that. Take, let's get some questions. And we got 19 minutes until this thing kicks off. So we're going to answer all these questions, talk a few more players. We still got the Plums. Fill it in the Plums play of the night coming up later. Some questions for you. Steven wants to know, do you like anyone under 2K on DraftKings? Is there anybody under 2K on DraftKings that you feel good about?
Yeah, quite a few players that I'd be willing to roster at least under 2K. So the guys that I like the best are even cheaper than that. So one, you can save some salary on the table. You can leave some salary on the table, get different, or you can use this to upgrade to another position. But I would probably be going with $800 Arroyo or $200 Michael Carter. If you want to be using that entire salary, then I just think you probably do it with I think I like Arroyo better than Higgins and Raymond, these backup tight ends for Arizona. So yeah, first choice would be Elijah Arroyo, the backup tight end for the tight end 2 / borderline tight end 1, because they don't use either of their tight ends very much in the passing game. For Seattle, with my next choice being the $200 Michael Carter, and just using that to upgrade somewhere else a little bit.
All right. Derek's asking about Tip Raymond. Just the tip. I don't know, man. I don't know. These guys are tricky like this.
We're single entry, so you can do it. You can do it because it's single. It's single game. It's showdown. You can do it. Yeah. Backup tight ends catch touchdowns, but don't go out of your way to do it. Like, if you land on it in the last piece, you don't want to change your lineup, sure, but don't go out of your way to do it.
So speaking of him, Mardon wants to know, Riemann or Higgins?
Flip a coin. Like, I can give you an answer. If I'm looking in the blitz, Raymond projects for 0.24 more points. And if we're looking at the RotoGrinders projections, Raymond projects for 1.9 more points and 1% more ownership. So technically Raymond is the slightly better play, but I'm not trying to get to either of these guys. I'd rather play Arroyo.
Alex wants to know if you have any love for the Cardinals.
Not really.
No.
I think they're going to lose today. I think Seattle's going to take them down. Give me the Seattle alt lines.
Okay. Tease it a little bit. Tease it for Matthew's girlfriend or Matthew's wife. Tease Matthew's wife with a little Seattle teaser on you, man.
With all these Seattle alt lines I'm going to be taking, Matthew's wife is going to be hitting me up.
Oh, buddy. She's going to get pounded by those teasers. Listen, Mardon she says, Chop, what about our boy Simi, a former Cowboy? Simi for head coach just never panned out, man. He's a talented guy, but never panned out. I don't think that's in the mix. Okay, Arson has an interesting question because on the surface, it's a clear answer of no, but it's an interesting topic. Arson wants to know, is Walker an alternative if you're fading Jackson, Smith, and Jigba? And you and I would both say we're not fading JSN. He's too good. And everybody's going to say that, but he is too good. He does pop in everything, optimal sims, everything. That means he's a good player. But if you are on that train and you do want to win that large field GPP by yourself and you do fade him, Walker 3 is the perfect alternative to him, because if JSN's not getting those touchdowns or those yards, those receptions, that means they're probably having success in the run game. And I trust Walker in the run game, straight up run game, more than I trust Charbonnet. So I think it's a perfect alternative to JSN if you're fading him. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that makes sense as well. If I am fading JSN, I'm probably playing Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet in the same lineup if I'm fading JSN. Like, that would really be the only way that I would have interest in doing so, because somebody is going to get yards for the Seattle team. They may not score a ton of points. It could be a low-scoring game. That's where you're maybe looking at this at a defense, at Myers in there, because Cardinals have been good in the red zone. But if I am fading JSN, I probably not only want to do it with Kenneth Walker, I probably want to play Zach Charbonnet too.
Fair enough. Listen. Okay, real quick, the tight ends. We know what the deal is with McBride, but touch on the tight ends real quick before we get to some kickers. People want to talk about kickers too, but give me some tight end love real quick.
Absolutely love Troy McBride today. He is my second favorite player on the slate behind JSN, second top spend up priority behind JSN. Outside of him, there are no tight ends that are priorities whatsoever. I do like Elijah Arroyo at only $800 on DraftKings. I'm getting there in my single entry team. And then my next choice would be the $2,800 Barner.
Okay, that answers Chris's question. Barner, a little bit of Barner love there, but don't go out of your way to play him like you said. Kickers, man, I'm telling you, this could be setting up for one of these kickers to be on the optimal, especially that Seattle kicker if things break his way. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on the kickers tonight?
Yeah, I like Myers especially. No problem whatsoever playing Chad Ryland. I think he is a totally fine play today, but Jason Myers I think is a really, really strong play. And I had to build a second single entry lineup because I couldn't decide between Darnold and Arroyo or Ryland and Myers and Charbonnet. And so I just made a second team.
I do that all the time. Kickers in the play. What about the defenses real quick? How you feel about the defenses tonight?
FanDuel, no interest. They're too expensive on DraftKings. I think they're both cheap enough you can play them. I strongly prefer the Seahawks defense. But if you want to play the Cardinals defense, they are cheap. And, it's a showdown slate. Anything can happen. If one of those two defenses score a touchdown, they're going to be optimal tonight at that price.
Speaking of them defenses, Jim wants to know, would you play both defenses and Walker and Charbonnet in one lineup? So double running backs with double defenses. I mean,
I would do that if I fill the other two spots with kickers.
Yeah, you're really pushing for a particular game script.
Yeah, just
and that's what wins. That's what wins sometimes, is just getting very, very fortunate that you pick the perfect game script. So
both Seattle running backs, Seattle's kicker, McBride and Myers, something like that.
Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant has a question for you. He's playing one lineup on DraftKings. It's a large field tournament. He has JSN at captain. That's relatively chalky. He's using 3 tight ends. Does that seem viable, or is it burning money? 3 tight ends. I'll let you answer that one, but I don't know. 3 tight ends.
Probably too much for me. If it is McBride, Barner, and Arroyo as the 3 tight ends, and you're playing, I would just say make sure you have the quarterback of whichever of the two you're taking whichever side you have 2 tight ends of. Whether it's McBride and one of the Arizona backups, make sure you have Kyler Murray. If it's both Seattle tight ends, I'd probably want to make sure I have Darnold in that team. And so I don't love it. I probably would just want to limit it to McBride and one of the Seattle guys, but they're all so cheap that it's it's possible that they do well, and it'll be a low-owned build.
Yeah, what's the JSN's kind of creeping up towards 20% for ownership on captain. That's a pretty big number in these kind of games. So I think you are being unique by using 3 tight ends. I don't see that being a very popular build. So you got that going for you, and you never know. It's kind of a game scripty thing. So I don't hate it if you're just trying to get a little bit different. Horton or Charbonnet, FanDuel flex?
Charbonnet.
Fair enough.
I think Charbonnet's got the higher floor and Horton's got the higher ceiling if he catches a long touchdown. So kind of keep that in mind. But if it were my money, I would do Charbonnet.
On FanDuel, Chris left $3,200 on the table. Is that too much to leave on the table?
If you are trying to build close to optimal, you're making sure you want to cash, then I would say yes. If this is a large field tournament, you are trying to get first place, the limit does not exist on how much money you can leave on the table, basically. So $3,200, no problem with that in a large field tournament whatsoever.
100% agree that throw that salary cap out the window on Showdown. Does not matter. Donnie wants to know DK large field tournament. Do you think Darnold is too low owned in the captain? He's only projected at he's under 3%. He's only making one lineup in the flagship. Darnold, 3% captain. What do you think?
Hell yeah. I honestly didn't realize quite how low owned he was. If I were playing more lineups, I would absolutely be going to some Darnold at captain.
Fair enough. Okay, guys, there's about 9 minutes till kickoff. That's all the questions that I see for now, but you know what? Keep firing them off. And then after we do the plums, I'll get to them all before we get out of here. But we got to do the plums while there's still time to do it. So, TJ, you know how we do this. The fill it in the plums play of the night, the guy you got, it doesn't matter. We like a little bit off the wall sometimes, but we'll take chalky too. We just want the guy that's going to be in all your lineups tonight that you feel the best about. TJ, who's your fill it in the plums play of the night?
So I will give a bonus play as well because I do feel like it's copping out to who my fill it in the plums play is, but that is Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like I'm playing 2 lineups today, but even if I were playing 150, I think he would be in at least 140. Like I want to get as much Jackson Smith and Jigba as possible. The only reason I wouldn't play him in the captain is either salary or trying to get different, but he to me is by far the best option there. In terms of a feel it in the plums play to get a little different today, I'm going Elijah Arroyo. That is the cheap punt that I like the best. Only $800 on DraftKings. That's the guy in my single entry lineup that I'm using to make everything else work.
I like it. All right. My fill it in the plums play of the night for Thursday night football. I'm gonna echo a lot of what TJ just said. I love JSN. He's awesome, but everybody knows that. Love Trey McBride, but I can't give you Trey McBride. Everybody knows Trey McBride. Benson's the flavor of the week because of the Connor injury. I think Kyler Murray runs tonight a little bit more, so he's a good player. But I gotta go off the radar for you guys because that's how we roll here. I'm going Torrey Horton. I'm feeling like maybe there's a possibility. First of all, he's supremely talented. He's way more talented right now physically than Cooper Kupp is. Cooper Kupp's on the downside, way downside of his career. Horton's just coming up. Maybe there's a little bit of extra coverage devoted to JSN tonight. Maybe there's, whatever. Maybe the running game gets rolling for Seattle and it opens up some play action deep to Horton. Horton's a very good wide receiver, and they're starting to use him a little more. I'm going Torrey Horton. Fill it in the plums, play of the night, a little bit cheaper, a little bit less owned, and all we need is one long one. He's capable of a long touchdown. So
I like that, especially on FanDuel, where he is even cheaper. And in addition to how cheap he is, like it's not point per reception over there. Like he's not going to catch a ton of passes, but like you said, we're looking for that long one. And so Torrey Horton on FanDuel, where it's not point per reception, I think he is a great tournament captain over there. Like just looking at some of the builds you can make. If I plug in Horton at captain, at MVP, I'd go JSN, Sam Darnold, Trey McBride, which would be my favorite way to start a Horton build. And you still have 8,050 for your last 2 positions. So you can get Trey Benson with Kupp, Myers, Charbonnet. Like you can do whatever you want when you throw Horton at the MVP. So I really like him, especially on FanDuel.
Yeah, a couple of comments here. Isn't Charbonnet risky, or isn't maybe Walker risky, or Charbonnet, is that risky with him coming back? Is he a full go? We assume he's going to step into his former role, Arson. So I think it's pretty much what it is. They're going to split some time, split some carries. Who do you guys think are the best captains over on FanDuel? Give me your best captain love over on FanDuel.
I would say McBride and JSN are my favorite choices up top, and then Horton, if you're going cheap, or Zach Charbonnet.
I would say just a little bit semi off the radar. Quarterbacks usually aren't that far off the radar, but Kyler Murray, I don't think he's getting as much love, mainly because I think he's going to run a lot more tonight, and that's the key to upside with him is running. So I'd say maybe Kyler Murray sneaking in there. People are forgetting, or people will regret fading Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't doubt that, man. It would not surprise me if I'm a narrative-driven guy. They he had a rough week because he dropped that pass last week. Everybody's making fun of him. If they make an extra effort to get him even more looks tonight, I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt he goes off. He's a very talented guy. He's just got to figure out his path here. If you faded Murray, who would you use?
JSN and McBride are the priority spend-ups, and then after that, I'm looking at Darnold and Benson.
All right, I'm not seeing any more questions, guys, and we got about 4 minutes to lock, so that should pretty much wrap it. This is when behind the scenes TJ needs to cue up the exit music because it's coming here in a minute. Guys, we appreciate you tuning in as always. Love these Thursday shows, love these Monday shows. Showdown will be back. I'll be back on Monday with a little 3-man booth, I believe. Nice surprise for you guys. So we appreciate it. We appreciate all the questions. It is a chat-driven show. As always, appreciate TJ not only behind the scenes, but today in front of the camera. So got some love for TJ. For TJ, I was Chop, your host. Until next week, good luck in those GPPs, but we're out of here.